Hello and welcome to the show. This is World Building Essentials and Exercises. I'm Lewis Nichols. This is a short video, so that's all the introduction you're going to get. Today we're talking about a rogue I wrote up the other day. Everybody, meet Pam. Say hi, Pam. Pam. Sorry guys, she's a little shy and not real easy to talk to on the best of days. Why does Pam exist? Well, for one, she's part of my collection of 2024 NPCs. A great way to learn a game like Dungeons & Dragons is to generate characters. The 24 edition Players Handbook is new to all of us, hence today's exercise. As far as the collection goes, it's just nice to have them prepared for when I'm running a one-shot of one sort or another. I've stolen a fillable PDF character sheet from the internet, and it's working pretty good. However, I may switch over to D&D Beyond. I just need to pull the trigger and start experimenting. Oh, Pam, you're still standing there. You know you're easy to miss sometimes. First off, we used the standard array from page 38. I'm considering creating my own array a few points higher, but that's another project to add to the list. For now, this keeps things even amongst the troops. Next up was a jump to page 129 to start piecing the character together. Rogues get a D8 for health. Their saving throw proficiencies are Dex and Con. They are skills based, starting with 4. They get light armor, thieves' tools, and martial weapons as long as they're light or finesse. The weapons, not the rogue. Alright, story time from the old guy. Back in the day, rogues were called thieves, and you had this big chart of abilities that got better by level. Pickpocket, stealth, climb walls, hide in shadows, pickpockets, find traps, all that stuff. It drove me a little bit crazy because many thieves never did much of this stuff. When we created the Pelicar system, we didn't even have thieves or rogues. If you wanted those skills, you could just take them up with any class. We started calling skill-intensive characters that didn't really fit into a class rogues. It took me months after getting back into 5e to realize that the game developers of Dungeons & Dragons had taken up a lot of these ideas for themselves. Pam, get out of his pockets. 5e is still very much a class-based system. At first level, rogues gain sneak attack, expertise, thieves can't, and weapon mastery. I like the idea of thieves getting weapon mastery. Along with a reliable sneak attack, they are solid damage doers to go along with their non-combat utility. Unsolicited advice to DMs, because that's what I do. I played at a table where the thief constantly had to justify their sneak attack damage. It was always an excuse from the DM why it couldn't happen. Sneak damage is and should be the default as long as the basic requirements are met. I think it should take something extraordinary to block the ability. It's a feature, not a bug. Akin to upcasting or extra attack, but then again he messed with the latter as well. On the other hand, Thieves' Cant is really something that has to be considered as part of the world building process. It's cool that local guilds have a way to sign each other, but do DMs let this work across their whole world? I'd love to know how you handle it. Tell me in the comments. My norm is regional, at best, just like languages. But in any given campaign, there might be different dynamics at work. Steady aim can turn your rogue into a damn fine archer. This is the direction Pam went, and she loves to fight from a distance with her short bow from cover. Finally, with cunning actions, thieves always have something to do with their bonus action. They have great mobility on the battlefield, giving them the ability to pick off vulnerable targets or avoid those who are eager to engage them directly in melee. It gives Pam a much better chance of sticking to the periphery of the battlefield. Next, I went to backgrounds, and that's where things got a little weird. I knew I wanted to boost Dex and Con, but all the thief-like backgrounds seemed like they overlapped with things that Pam already had. Going with Charlatan might have been a good idea. Forgery kits are useful, but Deception seemed like a waste with an 8 charisma. Criminal as a background would have given Thieves' Tools again. Total waste. Eventually, I settled on Soldier, and that's where Pam really materialized. Come to find out, Pam served in the war for a few years. She was assigned to a unit of skirmishers that would gather and pillage the countryside. They kept their company supplied, and did some scouting as supplementary duty. Perfect for a rogue. She has a few contacts left over from her military days, mostly retired soldiers. She doesn't make friends easily, but is reliable and smart enough not to screw up too many jobs. If I was to place her in my campaign world, it would be in one of the many small thieves guilds. She's definitely a background character when interacting with the organizational faces. I think it's important to realize what an 8 or otherwise low charisma means for a player or NPC. Pam sometimes laughs when she shouldn't. She doesn't put sentences together particularly well. She's awkward, and she makes other people feel awkward. Her biggest charisma tell is indecisiveness in social situations. In card games, she's that one that you're always waiting for to make her play. It's a little annoying, but not enough to exclude her from the group. At 3rd level, Pam picked up the subclass of Thief. She got into burglary and pickpocketing. Sometimes she would case a place for weeks before making her move. Advantages in action economy makes her very efficient. A pickpocket attempt, normal movement, a cunning action to hide or dash, all in the same turn. It's very hard to beat. If you want, you can go right up the side of a building to escape the scene of the crime. At 4th level, Pam set her role as an archer in stone when she picked up the feat of sharpshooter. Skulker would be a strong choice at 8th. Pam has a lot of options as she continues to level. Fighter would help, so could a few wizard levels. Think for a moment about a divination wizard rogue having a couple of predetermined roles to help with their stealth checks or their opponent's perception checks. Add that to their toolbox of spells that open, close, and pass through things. It's hard to resist taking a few levels in the class. So let's talk about damage output. The math is pretty simple. It's safe to assume she hits most targets around 80% of the time. The +7 is nice, but what really puts her over the top is that between Vex and Steady Shot, she has non-stop advantage as long as her dice don't go completely cold. Also, Vex applies to either her short bow or short sword damage. And that is about 35 points of damage per round. I'm probably underestimating a little bit, with the 80% hit ratio, but, dice come, dice go. She also has that amazing mobility, and it just keeps getting better with the more rogue levels or mage levels that she chooses to take. She can also be a lot of fun in role-playing situations. She's absolutely not the face of the party, but can easily develop some underworld ties. Maybe she has to do the talking sometimes. And an opportunity to flop charisma checks is a great chance for fun at the table. I would definitely play up those ties and try to get the whole party involved in guild activity. She's clearly motivated, because the more they get involved, the less likely she is to have to play the speaking role. You can, of course, play up the antisocial aspects of her character to avoid guild life entirely. Maybe she considers herself a stealth archer and that's the end of it. Remember that class titles are the words that players use. Characters can consider themselves to be whatever you like. I believe that most class factions are not even close to exclusively that class. Orders of paladins will have fighters. They'll probably call themselves paladins, just ones that aren't particularly friendly and don't cast spells. The idea that some ancestral barbarians aren't warlocks is impossible to me, and to them, they're all just barbarians. One, he's been granted some spells, some magic, by the old ones, but nobody cares. We do care about time, however, and this video has reached its end. This is our second character video, so we're getting some real data on what you people want. Of course, it would be easier if you just did more liking and commenting, but that's okay. I know you're there, and I appreciate you. I like this kind of video. You will almost certainly see more, but how much more can be highly affected by you. Just let me know. In the meantime, I hope you all have a great weekend. Cheers.